Hello and welcome to HMG's Global Leadership Institute Spotlight. I'm here with founder and CEO of Moveworks. Bhavin, you guys are doing some amazing work. You're my top pick for the HMG 2023 Global Leadership Institute CEO Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Sure. Thank you so much for including me today and being a part of this.
You know, when you think about it, what an unusual time we're in. In the past 6 or 7 years, you've done an amazing job at Moveworks. What inspired you to create the vision and to follow it through to such incredible success?
Well, you know, it's been an incredible journey, and I think that the work that I represent is the work of many people, our team members, who really are the ones that have done the incredible work and the innovation that I'm sure we'll talk more about. But when it goes back to the origin of when we got started, there were 3 secular shifts that we saw happening in the market. The first was the maturity of the cloud, and we started to see entire workloads being put into the cloud and stitched together, coordinated. There were more tools, there were more systems that you could do end-to-end orchestration across different SaaS vendors. That wasn't possible in the early days of the cloud. Then we saw a big secular shift as it relates to internal enterprise collaboration. So you had Slack at the time in 2016 sort of take off. That's what got me excited. And then a few years later, Microsoft Teams come out and really start to hit the gas on transforming how we collaborate. So today, the idea of not using one of these chat tools, and there's several others internally, feels backwards, right? We used to always email each other. Now we have channels. Now we message. So that was a big one. And then the third, probably the core of our technology journey, was the innovations that we started to see in natural language understanding. And there were a lot of models and techniques that were coming out that were, quite interesting, enabling us to understand basic constructs of what people were saying, their intents, their meaning. And so combining all those 3, collaboration really taking off, the cloud maturity, and this sort of renaissance in natural language understanding, it became clear that conversational AI was going to take another leap. Now, by the way, Andrew, when I started the company, people were saying chatbots were dead, these things didn't work. There was a lot of hype cycle, that had gone through, and people were like, hey, this isn't what we had been promised. But we knew that the era of instant was upon us. DoorDash, Uber, everything was happening fast, but yet it was taking 3 days to solve a typical IT issue. So we said, well, given the expectations of the consumer, given these secular shifts, what could we do here to improve the enterprise? And it turns out language was at the root of it all. The reason why your tickets that go to your HR team or your finance team or your IT team take so long is because someone has to read them and someone has to figure out where to send you or what steps to take. So all of that kind of soup of opportunity, of shifts came together, and we really said, hey, we think for real this time, we can build a company that delivers a conversational AI solution that solves your internal employee matters out of the gate. So that's what we've been hard at work at, and that's what everyone comes to work here focused on.
Great stuff, Bob. And when you think of your unique selling proposition, is that it right there?
It is. I think, one thing that is unique too about our approach from a technology standpoint is we realized that so many people had tried to use this technology on a one-off basis, only to recreate what another company had created themselves. And so we said, hey, why don't we take a different approach, use a collective learning model where we could retrain these techniques and these models in real time and aggregate data across customers so that they could each benefit from others using the product. And that is something that's played out extremely well, one that allows us to really deliver the cutting edge outcomes that are constantly and ever increasing and getting better. And so I think that is, even with some of the new hype that you've seen around some of these new ChatGPT and other models, they've been trained once, but they're not getting smarter by you using it today. They're leveraging the inference and the things that they've learned already. And so what we built was something that could continue to improve. And that's really, I think, the key differentiator that customers talk to us about and are in need of.
Exciting and great stuff, Bob. And I know you've had some great repeat CIO customers and some amazing new logos that have come on board recently. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. I think when I founded the company, one of the things I noticed that was very much missing in the world of SaaS was the focus on customer success. And it was a new concept, which boggles my mind, because how could you have a company that's solutioning for customers and not have that solution be something that is supported with ongoing success and commitment? So I said, look, let's build a modern SaaS company. What does that mean? That means we're not just going to create a tool hosted in the cloud with 5 nines of uptime. We're actually going to help customers go on this journey of deploying AI and being successful with it, creating impact, measuring that value, and delivering on that each and every day. And so we're constantly developing joint success plans with our customers. We're looking at what we need to do from a machine learning standpoint, what they need to do to be able to enable the AI to get access to more systems, to automate more. And so there's been this constant back and forth. And to your point, as a result, we have many customers who are now 2 and 3 time customers. As they move through their career, they're engaging with us. They're working with us to get the latest and greatest technologies deployed. And so, on that front, the technology front, there's been a constant stream of innovations, which, we worked from the beginning on different types of statistical machine learning models, and we moved to transformers, and we moved to large language models, and now GPT is all the rage, but we've been using it for a few years. What these customers who come back to us 1, 2, 3 times really like about us is that they know they get that value from us right out of the gate, but continuously as the world evolves, as the world continues to innovate. And the speed of innovation, by the way, has just skyrocketed, and that's exciting. But also at the same time, being able to manage that, control for that, solution around it is actually where we add a lot of value. So yeah, I mean, I think you and I did a session in San Diego. Steve Philpott, a 3-time customer of ours, now at Solidigm. The team at Honeywell is now a 2-time customer of ours. We have others who brought us into numerous accounts, from Pure Storage to Cruise Automation and so on and so forth. So we've seen a lot of that, but it really comes down to that commitment that we have from our customers to work with us, and our commitment to them, that jointly we will find success together.
Excellent stuff, Bob, and thank you so much. How would you characterize your leadership style in building a world-class culture, embracing that customer-focused, customer-centric approach that truly is outstanding?
Yeah. Well, I think a couple of things. One is, smart people, Hunter, as don't want to be managed. They don't want to be told what to do. So, if you want to hire the best, which we've been fortunate to bring on folks from the top universities, from the top institutions, the top organizations, people who are at the top of their professional game want to come join us. And the way that we create the culture to attract them is to make sure that it doesn't feel like a microscopic, micromanagement environment, but one in which we can all agree on a vision. We can all agree on what great looks like, and then let people go find those solutions. One of the interesting things about this company is all of the best ideas get generated not from the top, actually from the people who are closest to the data and people closest to the customers. And that's what we say all the time. When people ask me for an answer, I always ask, why is it coming to me? Why has it gotten to this point where you're asking me the answer? Isn't there someone else who's more of an expert, who we've brought on this team, who we can trust? Don't we have data from customers? Haven't we had these conversations? Where are we missing such that we have to make an arbitrary call? Because, let's be honest, CEOs' perspectives are very limited. And we also have recency bias. I talked to 3 CIOs, this week. I'm going to probably bias my preferences towards what they were asking me for. And you don't want to do that. And so I think what matters is, that you can find the right people with the same sort of ambition as you that show up and really innovate. Now, from my standpoint, it doesn't mean that I'm completely hands off, right? I am hands-on. I do get involved. I show up every day. I'm constantly traveling, visiting customers, visiting team members, but it allows me to participate in many of the business aspects, right? I sometimes will just listen in a meeting, won't contribute at all. Sometimes I will contribute and I will lead the discussion. So all of these different styles are ones that I think are just innate to myself, but ones that I've seen others use successfully as a means in which to get the best people together, make sure they feel like they've got control of the company's destiny, that their input matters. And so, I think that's what, we look at a lot when it comes to, how to build that culture.
Bob, visionary stuff. Truly, you're an inspiration as well to me, being a founder and CEO. How do you keep your vision alive, and what inspires you and your team to that next level of thinking differently, looking at the problem or issue from a different point of view, and continued success? It's amazing. I love your success story. It's amazing to see you folks accelerate here in year, 6, 7?
Yeah, exactly. Right in the middle there, 6.5 years. So, I think there is a strong perspective here at the company of having a growth mindset. We are constantly asking ourselves or challenging ourselves, how do we disrupt what we've done? How do we do something differently? What would we do if we were starting this company from scratch today? What would we change? And so when we look at it from those perspectives, and that's a common refrain, by the way, around here, we don't actually just say this and then there's actually a different narrative. We're actually constantly challenging one another. It comes down to a few things, Hunter, that really start with who we bring on board, how we hire people, and what we look for. And these cultural characteristics that are sort of our operating principles are what helps ensure that we have the right people here with the right energy, with the right purpose and motivation. And so I think the first thing that we look for is people who have high execution quotient, people who get stuff done. There's a lot of people in the world who can talk and give advice, but when it comes to actually building, they're slow to act. We don't accept that here. We look for people who can move, who can execute, who can generate, a document, can be articulate over a Slack channel, who can, present an idea coherently. We also look for people at the same time who can act on impartial information. Life often, people get kind of scared to make big decisions because they don't have all the data. And so what do? They delay decision making. They elongate the process because they're waiting for some more validation to make that call. Here, we make the call all the time without all the information that we ideally would like to have. We also have this philosophy that nothing is someone else's problem. So there is no like, oh, that's marketing team's problem, or that's the sales team's problem, or that's product's issue. It's one team, one dream, as we say. And so everyone gets involved, including myself, whenever it's necessary. And we all care deeply about each other's experiences. When someone has a bad day, we talk about it. When someone has a win, we celebrate it. A couple of things, we try and minimize hierarchy, meaning that there is a hierarchy. It has to be given, annual performance reviews and so forth. But when it comes to how we operate, when we're in a room together, it doesn't matter what your title is. It doesn't matter whether it has an S at the start, if it has a chief at the start. It's really about, do you have the best ideas that can influence the folks in the room? And if you do, you could be a fresh grad, dictating the narrative of which direction we take. And last but not least, all this requires very little ego, one in which you accept the feedback, you take the feedback, you give the feedback on a continuous basis, and you recognize you're only as good as you are based on what you've done lately, not what you did 3 years ago, not what you accomplished in your previous company, but what you are doing now for the business. That's how we judge our own impact and success.
Bhavin, I love it. One team, one dream, truly an inspiration. Congratulations on being our top pick for the 2023 CEO Hall of Fame here at HMG Strategy, the Global Leadership Institute. Again, here's to some more continued success in 23 and beyond. Looking forward to seeing you in person, on the road, and again, great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter.
Great to be with you.